guys, welcome back to the channel. Sorry for the delay. Annual leave and back to work in trays have sort of delayed me. Anyway, what I want to talk about on this episode isn't a game, but actually some gaming support in terms of ORBATs and battle scenarios, which can be quite difficult to find for the Asia Pacific campaign around World War II. Obviously, Flames of War, they did the Gung Ho and Banzai. There's a bit in Rising Sun. The Warlord supplement, it's not bad for getting a few bits and pieces, but on the whole it leaves you light from a lot of the actions in Burma and some of the other islands. So I've been doing some shopping around, and what I'd like to introduce today is a new book, which is by a company called Red Octopus, Frontline, Great Asia War, the Allied and Japanese forces in Asia and the Pacific between 1941 and 1945. So for me, this is a great resource book put together by Ralph and Britta. Okay, it's maybe not the cheapest, but for me it gives a great overview of 41 through to 45. Does a lot of the work for you, and on the whole I feel it's a fairly accurate account. I think a little bit challenging is getting the points to match up to the version 3 books for Gung Ho and for Banzai, but a little bit of tweaking and you can make it work. You can either lift all the ORBATs straight out of the Frontline book, or adopt the point system between version 3 and then blend it back into the book itself. You get a good selection from Imperial Marine, Guard, Japanese paratroopers. You get the Dutch, you've got obviously the Chindits in there, you've got the early war Filipinos. It's a really good selection, which will go a long way to putting together your Asia and Pacific gaming. I also like the variation in special rules that they provide, and some new unique weapon systems, which, although quite rare, and many would say that weren't fielded that often, to have those opportunities in some of your more specialist games, late war, Iwo Jima, Saipan, Okinawa, it just adds a flavour. You can also do some what-if scenarios, i.e. if the US didn't go for a nuclear option and you went for the invasion of the mainland, and then you're deploying heavier Japanese tanks, different weapon systems. It all adds to the flavour for the Asia Pacific campaign. Frontline also produce a range of other books which cover more specific combat actions around Guadalcanal and so forth, and they give much more detail on those focused combat actions. But for me, a great buy if you're really into the Asia Pacific, well worth it, is the Great Asia War. Couldn't recommend it enough, and that's a big shout out to Ralph and Britta. Huge amount of effort's gone into this around the research, for the ORBATs, the unique weapon systems and the special rules. So what's coming up next? As you've seen, and here are the pictures, I've now got my Chinese nationalist army. That's a big thanks to James Harvey of Devil's Paintbrush, who works on and delivers all my stuff for me. Great value, great quality, couldn't recommend him more. So the next session is going to be a battle report on the Chinese nationalists who are going to be defending the Burma-China road, which was critical to support the Allies as the Japanese occupied Burma. This is going to be an offense-defense game, around about 2,000 points, version 3 for the Chinese, and about 3,000 for the Japanese attacking forces. It's going to be quite an interesting game. The Chinese are confident trained, but only got limited artillery and air support. A mixture of some of the early war Germans, supported by some limited US armour. So a very interesting game coming up, and we'll see that next week.